The easiest person to control is not the weak person. It is the person who needs approval, reacts to everything, and allows other people's opinions to determine their peace. Stoics understood something thousands of years ago. The moment someone controls your emotions, they control you. In this video, you will discover 10 Stoic rules that will help you stop being manipulated, stop being taken for granted, and reclaim control over your mind. But stay until rule number 7, because that is where you will learn the one ability that makes people lose their power over you instantly. The ability to walk away without fear. Throughout history, humans have fought for control. Kings wanted control over kingdoms. Generals wanted control over armies. Leaders wanted control over nations. But the greatest thinkers understood something deeper. The hardest person to control is the person who has mastered themselves. The ancient Stoics were not people who avoided problems. They were people who learned how to remain calm when problems arrived. They understood that life will always bring difficult people. There will always be people who criticize you, people who underestimate you, people who try to manipulate you, people who only respect you when you stop allowing them to disrespect you. The Stoics did not teach weakness. They taught inner strength. They taught that your mind should be your fortress. A fortress that cannot be invaded by anger. A fortress that cannot be destroyed by rejection. A fortress that cannot be controlled by someone else's behavior. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the foundation of Stoicism. The world will always attempt to pull your emotions in different directions, but your job is not to control the world. Your job is to control yourself, because once you master yourself, people lose their ability to control you. So let's begin with the first rule. 1. Stop giving people power over your emotions. Most people believe other people control them because of what those people do. But that is not true. People only control you when you give them access to your emotions. Think about it. Someone insults you. Your entire mood changes. Someone ignores you. You start questioning your worth. Someone criticizes you. You spend hours replaying their words in your mind. The person who hurt you may have forgotten what they said 5 minutes later, but you are still carrying their words days later. That is emotional slavery. The Stoics understood that your reaction is where your power exists. You cannot always control what someone says. You cannot control whether someone respects you. You cannot control whether someone misunderstands you. But you can control whether their behavior takes away your peace. Epictetus taught that people are not disturbed by things themselves, but by the judgments they create about those things. The event is not always the problem. Your interpretation of the event is. Someone says, "You are not good enough." A weak mind says, "Maybe they're right." A Stoic mind says, "That is their opinion." It does not define reality. Someone leaves your life. A weak mind says, "I lost someone who made me valuable." A Stoic mind says, "I lost someone who was not meant to continue the journey with me." The difference is not the situation. The difference is the mindset. You become powerful when you stop allowing outside events to control your internal world. This does not mean you become emotionless. It means you become disciplined. You still feel anger, you still feel disappointment, you still experience pain, but you no longer allow those emotions to make decisions for you, because emotions are information, not instructions. A person who can control your emotions can control your actions, but a person who controls their emotions controls their destiny. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, your reaction is your power, your peace is your responsibility, and nobody can take what you refuse to give away. 2. Master the art of not explaining yourself. One of the biggest signs that someone does not have control over themselves is the constant need to explain. They explain why they made a decision. They explain why they said no. They explain why they walked away. They explain themselves to people who have already decided to misunderstand them. But the Stoics understood something important. A person who knows themselves does not need constant approval from others. Think about a tree. A tree does not stop growing because someone says, "I don't like your branches." A mountain does not move because someone complains about its height. And a person with strong character does not collapse because someone misunderstands them. Many people waste their energy trying to convince everyone that they are a good person. But the truth is, the people who genuinely respect you do not need a long explanation. And the people who are determined to judge you will never be satisfied with one. The more you explain yourself, the more power you give someone else over your decisions. You are silently saying, I need you to approve of my choices before I can feel confident about them. But confidence does not come from convincing others. It comes from trusting yourself. Sometimes silence is the strongest answer. When someone misunderstands you, remain calm. When someone questions your boundaries, remain firm. When someone demands explanations for choices that belong to you, remember, you are not responsible for making everyone comfortable with your decisions. The Stoic does not seek permission to live according to their values. They simply do. There is a difference between communication and seeking approval. Communication comes from confidence. Over-explaining comes from insecurity. Learn to speak when necessary, but also learn the power of silence. Because a person who is comfortable with silence is a person who cannot easily be manipulated. 3. Stop seeking approval from everyone. The desire to be accepted is natural. Every human being wants to belong. But when the need for approval becomes stronger than your commitment to yourself, you lose your freedom. Many people are living lives they do not want because they are afraid of disappointing others. They say yes when they want to say no. They stay where they are disrespected because they fear being alone. They hide their true opinions because they fear rejection. Slowly, they become strangers to themselves. The Stoics believed your worth should come from within, not from applause, not from compliments, not from people's changing opinions. Because people's opinions are unstable. Today they praise you. Tomorrow they criticize you. If your confidence depends on them, your confidence will always be fragile. Marcus Aurelius spent his life surrounded by people who judged him. As emperor, every decision he made affected millions of people. Yet he understood that chasing approval was a trap, because when you try to please everyone, you belong to everyone except yourself. A powerful question to ask yourself is, would I still do this if nobody knew I did it? Would you still work hard? Would you still improve yourself? Would you still choose integrity? Would you still do the right thing? If the answer is yes, you are building inner strength. A person who does not need constant approval is difficult to control. They cannot be manipulated by praise. They cannot be destroyed by criticism. They know who they are. And that is a level of freedom most people never experience. Remember this, the moment you stop needing everyone to like you, you become powerful. Because you are no longer living for their acceptance. You are living according to your principles. 4. Control what you can, ignore what you cannot. One of the greatest reasons people become controlled by others is that they spend their lives trying to control things that were never theirs to control. They try to control how others feel about them. They try to control whether people appreciate their efforts. They try to control every outcome, every opinion, every conversation. And in doing so, they lose control of the one thing that truly belongs to them, their own mind. Epictetus built his philosophy on a simple but life-changing idea. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. At first, this sounds obvious. But very few people actually live this way. Imagine you're at work. You give your best effort on an important project. You've done everything you can. Then your manager criticizes it. Your first instinct might be to feel angry, defensive, or discouraged. But pause for a moment. Can you control your manager's opinion? No. Can you control whether everyone recognizes your effort? No. Can you control how professionally you respond? Absolutely. The Stoic doesn't waste energy fighting reality. Instead, they ask one question: what part of this situation belongs to me? If it's your attitude, own it. If it's your effort, improve it. If it's your character, protect it. Everything else, let it go. Think of how much peace you would gain if you stopped carrying responsibilities that were never yours. You are not responsible for someone else's maturity. You are not responsible for fixing every broken relationship. You are not responsible for changing people who refuse to change. The more you focus on what is within your control, the less anyone can manipulate your emotions. Because manipulation only works when someone convinces you that their choices are your responsibility. The Stoic refuses that burden. They don't chase what they cannot hold. They master what they already possess, their own mind. 5. Build boundaries without guilt. One of the biggest lies people believe is this: if I'm a good person, I should always be available. So they answer every phone call, accept every favor, say yes to every request, sacrifice their own peace just to avoid disappointing someone else. At first, people admire them, then they begin to expect it. Eventually, they take it for granted. This is how many kind people become exhausted, not because they lack strength, but because they lack boundaries. The Stoics understood that kindness without wisdom becomes self-destruction. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that your duty is not to please everyone. Your duty is to act according to virtue. And sometimes the most virtuous answer is a simple no. Many people fear saying no because they think it makes them selfish. But there is a difference between selfishness and self-respect. Selfishness says, my needs are all that matter. Self-respect says, my needs matter too. Healthy boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are doors that allow the right people in. Think about the strongest people you've ever met. They are usually kind. They are respectful. But they are also clear. They don't apologize for protecting their peace. They don't feel guilty for saying no to things that violate their values. And because of that, people learn how to treat them. Here's a truth many people discover too late. Every time you allow someone to cross your boundaries without consequence, you teach them that your boundaries don't matter. People don't always respect what you say. They respect what you consistently enforce. So stop feeling guilty for protecting your time. Stop apologizing for protecting your peace. The people who truly value you will understand. And the people who become angry because you set boundaries were often benefiting from your lack of them. 6. Never let someone else's behavior define your worth. There is a dangerous habit that quietly steals confidence from millions of people. It sounds like this: they ignored me. Maybe I'm not important. They left me. Maybe I'm not enough. They criticized me. Maybe they're right. Do you see what's happening? Someone else's behavior becomes the measure of your value. The Stoics warned against this because your worth cannot be determined by people whose opinions change with their emotions. Imagine holding a diamond in your hand. Now imagine someone looking at it and saying, it's worthless. Does the diamond lose its value? Of course not. Only the person's judgment has changed. The same is true for you. Not everyone will recognize your value. Some people are too distracted. Some are too insecure. Some only appreciate what they've lost. And some simply aren't capable of seeing what you have to offer. Their blindness is not your identity. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that criticism says more about the person speaking than the person receiving it. People judge through the lens of their own fears, experiences, and limitations. A jealous person sees arrogance. An insecure person sees competition. A manipulative person sees boundaries as rejection. That's why you cannot build your identity on their opinions. Instead, ask yourself, did I act with integrity? Did I remain true to my values? Did I give my best effort? If the answer is yes, then let the rest go. Because your character is your responsibility, their opinion is theirs. And confusing the two gives away your freedom. Everything we've discussed so far has been about protecting your mind. But the next rule is different. This is the rule that separates people who are constantly manipulated from people who are genuinely free. Most people stay in unhealthy relationships, unhealthy friendships, unhealthy workplaces, not because they don't know they're being mistreated, but because they're afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, afraid of what people will think. The Stoics had a cure for this fear, and once you master it, people lose one of the greatest weapons they have against you. Let's talk about it. 7. Become comfortable walking away. One of the greatest powers you can develop is the ability to leave, not out of anger, not to prove a point, not to punish someone, but because you value your peace more than your comfort. Many people remain trapped because they believe they have no choice. They stay in conversations that drain them, jobs that crush their spirit, friendships built on disrespect, relationships where love has been replaced by control. They tell themselves, maybe things will change. Sometimes they do, but often they don't. The Stoics believed attachment is one of the greatest sources of suffering. Not because love is wrong, not because commitment is wrong, but because clinging to what no longer serves you creates unnecessary pain. Think about nature. Trees release their leaves every autumn, not because they hate them, but because they understand that holding on forever prevents new growth. Yet many people keep holding on to people who have already let go of them emotionally. They keep chasing respect from those who never intended to give it. They keep explaining themselves to people committed to misunderstanding them. Why? Because they fear what comes after letting go. But here's the paradox: the moment you become willing to walk away, you stop being easy to control. Manipulation depends on your fear of losing something, the fear of losing approval, the fear of losing affection, the fear of losing status, the fear of being alone. Remove that fear, and manipulation loses its power. Walking away doesn't always mean ending a relationship. Sometimes it means walking away from arguments that don't deserve your energy, walking away from proving yourself, walking away from resentment, walking away from the version of yourself that constantly begged for acceptance. The Stoic walks away from what steals peace so they can walk toward what builds character, and that is true freedom. 8. Master the power of silence. There is a reason the loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. People who lack control often feel the need to prove themselves. They argue, they defend, they interrupt, they react to every insult as if their identity depends on winning every conversation. The Stoics chose a different path. They understood that silence is not weakness. Silence is discipline. Imagine two people in an argument. One shouts louder with every sentence. The other listens carefully, speaks only when necessary, and never allows emotion to take over. Who appears stronger? The answer is obvious. The calm person, because composure communicates confidence in a way that words never can. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Think about that. When someone insults you and you immediately insult them back, what have you accomplished? You have allowed them to decide how you behave. They pulled the strings. You danced. That is not power. Power is choosing your response. Sometimes that response is speaking with wisdom. Sometimes it is smiling and moving on. And sometimes it is saying absolutely nothing. Silence has an unusual effect on people. It forces them to sit with their own words. Many people provoke others because they crave a reaction. They feed on drama. They feel important when they can make someone angry. But when they meet someone who refuses to play the game, they become uncomfortable. Have you ever noticed how silence often makes an angry person speak even more? Why? Because they expected resistance. Instead, they met self-control. That is why silence can be more unsettling than the perfect comeback. But don't misunderstand. Stoic silence is not passive aggression. It is not pretending everything is fine. It is choosing not to waste your peace on conversations that cannot improve your life. Before you respond to criticism, ask yourself, will these words make my life better tomorrow? If the answer is no, perhaps your silence is the wiser response. Remember this, every unnecessary argument steals time you'll never get back. Every emotional reaction gives someone else access to your peace. Silence protects both, and the person who knows when not to speak becomes increasingly difficult to manipulate. 9. Discipline yourself before trying to control anything else. People often say they want more respect, more influence, more success, more control over their lives. But they overlook one uncomfortable truth. If you cannot control yourself, nothing else will stay under your control for long. The Stoics believed that self-discipline is the highest form of freedom. That sounds strange at first. Most people think discipline is restriction. The Stoics saw it differently. Discipline removes the chains created by your impulses. Think about it. The person who cannot control their temper is controlled by anger. The person who cannot control spending is controlled by money. The person who cannot control their cravings is controlled by desire. The person who cannot control procrastination is controlled by comfort. They may believe they are making choices. In reality, their habits are making choices for them. Every day you face a quiet battle, the battle between comfort and character. Comfort whispers, sleep a little longer. Skip today's workout. Reply with anger. Say yes even though you want to say no. Character whispers something different. Do what is right, even when it's difficult, even when no one is watching. Every small decision strengthens one voice or the other. Marcus Aurelius didn't become one of history's greatest leaders because life was easy. He became great because he trained himself to act according to reason rather than emotion. Imagine beginning each day with one simple question. What kind of person do I want to become today? Not, what do I feel like doing? Feelings change. Character endures. The more disciplined you become, the less vulnerable you are to manipulation, because disciplined people are difficult to tempt, difficult to pressure, difficult to distract. Their decisions are guided by principles, not by passing emotions, and that is the foundation of real freedom. 10. Become someone who cannot be manipulated. Everything we've discussed leads to this final rule, because manipulation doesn't begin with other people. It begins wherever there is an unmet need inside us. Someone manipulates your emotions because you desperately need approval. Someone controls your decisions because you fear rejection. Someone keeps disrespecting you because you fear walking away. Someone dominates your thoughts because you believe your happiness depends on them. The Stoics understood something most people never realize. The strongest prison is emotional dependence. The day your peace depends on someone else's behavior, you have handed them the key. But imagine waking up tomorrow with a different mindset. You appreciate people, but you don't depend on them for your happiness. You welcome love, but you don't abandon yourself to keep it. You value success, but failure doesn't destroy your identity. You enjoy praise, but criticism no longer defines your worth. This is what emotional independence looks like. It doesn't make you cold. It makes you stable. People often misunderstand Stoicism. They think Stoics don't care. That isn't true. Stoics care deeply. They simply refuse to surrender control of their inner world. Imagine standing in the middle of a violent storm. The wind howls, rain falls, thunder shakes the sky. Yet beneath the surface of the ocean, everything remains calm. That is the Stoic mind. The world may be chaotic. People may disappoint you. Life may not unfold according to your plans. But your inner world remains steady, not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. And when people realize they cannot provoke you, cannot guilt you, cannot intimidate you, cannot manipulate you, something remarkable happens. They either begin to respect you, or they quietly disappear. Either outcome is a victory. The truth is, freedom has never been about controlling other people. It has always been about controlling yourself. The world will always have difficult people, people who criticize, people who manipulate, people who underestimate, people who try to pull you into their chaos. You cannot stop them from existing, but you can stop giving them power over your life. Today, you've learned 10 Stoic rules that can transform the way you think. Remember, every day gives you another opportunity to practice these principles. Not perfectly, but consistently. Because Stoicism isn't about becoming fearless overnight. It's about becoming a little stronger each day, a little calmer, a little wiser, a little more in control than you were yesterday. One day, people will wonder why their insults no longer affect you, why their criticism no longer breaks you, why their manipulation no longer works. They'll think you've changed. And they'll be right, because you've done something far more valuable than changing your circumstances. You've changed yourself, and once you master yourself, no one will ever control you again. If this message resonated with you, write "I control my mind" in the comments. It isn't just a comment, it's a commitment to yourself. If you found value in these Stoic principles, subscribe to the Stoic Ethos for more timeless wisdom on building mental strength, emotional resilience, and unshakable character. Until next time, remember, master your mind, and the world loses its power over you.